And this is the bit of the sickening thing, really. I don't like to say how good I think I am. I'd rather show it in actions. And this year was the year I was about to do that. So it's a little bit frustrating, but it's just made the fire even hotter and even bigger. And you follow my career, and in a few years' time, you'll see for yourself how good I am.
I think as well, just the word stroke is a really strong, powerful word. And you know, it took us a long time to get used to the fact that it's happened to us. Even just saying the word stroke, even to this day, I don't know if you feel the same, but it's like, I can't believe we're now part of the stroke world, because I just never in a million years thought it would happen to us.
I still, to be honest, a lot of people still sort of don't believe me. Like,
No.
if I say, oh, I've had a stroke, so I haven't been in the ring, or I've had a stroke, so I haven't been at work. Oh, what, you mean like a mini one? Or I'm like, no, like a stroke.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah, obviously it happens in young people too, usually due to reasons like mine with the hole in the heart. But yeah, and then, I don't know, you get another response where you say the word stroke and people's faces, I literally witness it. You say the word stroke and their faces just change. I walked into the boxing gym one day as normal, ready for training. I think I arrived about 10:30 a.m. Went into the changing room, got changed, put on my kit into the locker, walked out and began talking with my friends, the other boxers and my trainer. And I started slurring my words, and my trainer started laughing, and then I tried to re-articulate myself, and it was worse. My speech was worse. But I was thinking, what's happening here? And I felt the right side of my face drop, and my right hand sort of melt in on itself. And then I thought to myself, these are stroke symptoms, but I'm not having a stroke.
Stoinis tries to heave Pretorius through the onside, and is brilliantly caught at mid-wicket.
Well, oddly, I didn't. We were listening the radio with the comments, weren't we?
Yeah, we had the commentary in our ears, but we were watching the match.
You would ask me something.
Yeah, I just didn't think you were responsive.
And then I tried to say to my trainer, I think I'm having a stroke. But all that come out of my mouth was, ah.
I don't think I lost conscious, did I?
I don't think so, but you weren't responsive.
Yeah.
You know, it was all quite sort of dramatic and urgent. And
I think it took about 3 minutes, and then I got my speech back. But I felt funny. Something wasn't right. My body was just, my heart was beating very fast. My body was just telling me something was up.
They had physio help me walk and to speak.
And of course, I was only a week away from a big boxing match, so the hospital was the last place I wanted to be. You know, I didn't want anything to get in the way of that fight happening. It was a big opportunity for me. It was like what I thought was going to be my breakthrough fight.
I couldn't swallow that time. Tell me swallow.
yes, so you had some speech therapy as well.
Yeah.
And occupational therapy.
Yeah.
You know, it was weird. It was like there was a giant elephant in the room. Obviously, all the symptoms I had were pointing towards stroke.
The shock of it all sinks in, doesn't it? And you're not sure about what the future will hold at all.
There was a lot of nurses running around me. About 3 of them were taking blood all the time and introducing themselves. And then this lady come up and said, you know, we're not suggesting anything, but I'm the stroke nurse, you know, nice to meet you.
Quite lonely on your own at home, because although we've got many good friends and good support networks, when it comes to the crunch, you know, you're the person that's got to cope.
Just really hoping that, you know, it was just a funny 5 minutes so I could box this fight in a week's time.
Yeah, no, I was very healthy. Wasn't he?
Yes, Michael was very fit and cycled and swam and walked a lot.
Sporadically throughout the day, though, my speech would go funny again, especially my S's. I would pronounce my S's as a SH.
I didn't know what I'd be able to do.
No, because when you came out of hospital, you had the wheelchair and a ramp to get in the house, and you couldn't go up steps.
And there was only one thing throughout the day of getting these x-rays and CT scans. I kept saying to my manager, oh, I got a lump in my throat, I can't swallow, I don't know, do I feel a bit nauseous? I don't know, is it nerves or what?
Of course, they told you quite early that your arm
Yeah,
wouldn't work either, the right arm.
it doesn't. I couldn't speak very well, could I?
No, you couldn't speak at all initially.
Yeah. There's some words I can't master.
And it was like the final sort of symptom they hadn't checked. And the first thing she did was give me a cup of water. And she said, can I get you to drink this, please? And I said, what is that? And she said, well, it's a symptom of stroke. If you can have trouble swallowing, it shows something in your brain. And I was just like, that's just like, the final one on the Google list that I wouldn't have ticked off yet.
Talking to somebody, of course, you don't know which words. You might think, oh, I could avoid those words. you can never remember which words they are.
And yes, it did confirm I had a hole in my heart. They also put me on a 3-day heart monitor while I was in there. And so I just stayed for further 6 days. And then once all that was confirmed, they said, yeah, you need surgery.
Well, I suppose people have got used to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think as well, we had a lot of fun, didn't we, when you couldn't, bring the right word into your head and we were all guessing. It was a bit like charades all the time, And it still is sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone, when they're a baby in the womb, they have this natural hole. It's the wall in the middle of your heart. When you're a baby in the womb, as your heart beats, it flaps open because we don't breathe with our lungs. And then when we get born, this flap just touches and it seals and closes. So I think it's like 70 or 80% of people, they have a straight septum in the middle of their heart, straight wall. But for some people, I believe it's 25% of people, it stays and they got the PFO, and then blood clots can sneak through that flap and cause stroke, which is quite a common cause of stroke in young people, myself included.
I just couldn't read.
But your reading's got so much better because initially you couldn't read at all, could you?
Yeah.
And now, you spot things and you notice signs and you notice things in magazines and you can read.
After much negotiation, it was agreed that she would spend the mornings in Elizabeth's office, working on orders and invoices, and then after dinner she would sit in the larger office.
You really, really badly miss the reading, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it was fairly fun.
Yes, it was.
I just couldn't make out what symptoms were. It wasn't like jumble. It just looked normal. Well, of course, I couldn't understand. But surprising, the small words were more difficult.
I think it was the similarity between words like which and where and what and why, whereas something like architect or manufacture was more individual and clear, wasn't it? And you could read sometimes the more difficult words.
As soon as I walked around that corner into the ward where Dan was, we said, I think, even one word to one another, and I said, I think it was your S's, and there was like a Q maybe.
You said
in
something
your
about my
R's.
facial muscles, didn't you?
Yeah. So I do sign language for a living. I'm a sign language interpreter, and I pick up a lot through body language and facial expressions.
Early on, Michael's arm, the hospital staff said they didn't think his arm would work, And they were right, and it hasn't worked. You know, just keep battling on is the only way you can do it, really. And get out. You know, Michael can only walk very slowly, but we do go out, and we go out using the wheelchair.
I mean, I walk around every week, every day around the block. I can't do it any faster. You know, you're not confined in the house. It's easy to use buses.
Yes, everything, you know, is new, and you've got to learn how to get on buses and get off buses. And I think see your friends, I mean, all our friends were marvellous and still are.
I mean, I walk around every week, every day around the block. I can't do it any faster. When I was walking down the road, you said, hurry up. I think you live in a dream world. I think that's the trouble. And I'm not aware that the time passing.
I think you were always a bit like that. It's got a bit worse.
You know, panic kicks in. I then start thinking, oh my gosh, like, what am I supposed to do? I've got a dog. We need to make sure she's okay. And the house, we just bought a house. You do feel like you're going, there's no way out, but actually, you know, we're here a year on and we're the other side, I'd say now, especially after your heart closure.
Well, I think it's very hard for you.
Well, I suppose it is stressful.
Prior to the stroke, Dan was constantly work. You know, training for the next fight constantly, weren't you? Where like since the strokes happened and we've had a year out, you know, we haven't been to any boxing events. We have hardly watched any boxing here at home.
And this year, so obviously I couldn't really work or make the most out of my career as I wanted. So we've just decided to get away, go on holiday, or enjoy that time off, or see family more. Or my friends would probably all say that they've seen a lot more of me this year than ever.
I think it's okay to talk about it as well, you know, not bottling it up. I think that's what's really helped me.
We wouldn't go to church.
We don't go to
Yeah.
church, no. But
I mean, we didn't before, before the stroke.
we've got a sort of residual faith,
Yeah.
I suppose, from our upbringing, probably, haven't we?
Well, you keep saying there's not going to be
A miracle. It's not going to be a miracle. No, I think obviously we all wish there would be a miracle, but it's probably unlikely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's completely unlike.
I think it's just got to be perseverance.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
An optimistic outlook,
Yeah,
hasn't it,
yeah.
really? Michael's been very cheerful and positive and had a very, a happy outlook, and we've been very blessed by that. But it always worried me that, he might be bottling up a lot of things, and I used to say, if you are feeling sad, please just let it out. You're allowed to be sad. There are lots of things you've lost in your life. Well, I still do encourage him and say, don't be afraid to be sad. Don't be afraid to be angry sometimes. I am, of course I am sometimes very sad and angry. But, it's not very creative, is it?
I've asked the stroke consultants and the brain consultants at the hospital and the heart surgeon who performed my surgery, and they all say the same thing. They don't see a reason why not. I mean, they all think boxing is stupid anyway. But no, medically, the general consensus is I won't be any more of a risk after all this than I was before it. To people that don't find themselves in my situation, it would be nice maybe, because I didn't have any clue, to be aware that young people have strokes too.